Alright, in this video, I want to talk about the typical responses I get from atheists and why I generally don't engage with atheists. And I kind of like having this two-part thing here. I can make a little weird faces for the thumbnails and whatnot. So that should be fun for me. Hopefully it's fun for you. Anyway, the reason why I have this 2 plus 2 equals 4 over here is to just demonstrate something. Because a lot of atheists, they think they're clever and they think they're able to manipulate the conversation to be able to, I guess in a way, swindle you and just push your belief aside and impose their belief onto you. And one of the ways they do this is like this one atheist I was just talking to was saying. He was saying, has it occurred to you that you could be wrong? And then made the claim, you already know everything. And this is a little swindle here because it's okay for them to say they're atheists, which means they know there is no God. It's not agnostic where they're not sure. They're atheists because they're saying there isn't, right? And then they talk to you as if you're being arrogant, you know it all. It's just a way to get you to back down, put your belief aside, so then they can impose their belief onto you. And that's why I have this 2 plus 2 equals 4 over here. Now, if we were talking with people about 2 plus 2 equals 4, and there's people who didn't believe it, and they said, has it ever occurred to you that you could be wrong? I'd be like, you know what? When I was 5, I was like, is this really equal 4? Like, when they asked me what 2 plus 2 was, I was like, I don't know. And then when they said 4, I was like, okay, you're the teacher, but I don't know. I'm going to go with it, though. And then when I started to actually apply this to life, I saw that it was true. Well, experimentation, right? I put 2 fingers up over here, and I put 2 fingers up over here, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. But does it work with everything? So, I took 2 apples, took 2 over here, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. But with oranges, though. So I took 2 oranges, and I took 2 more, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. But what if it's 2 different objects? So, I took an apple and an orange. So I have 2 objects, and then I have 2 fingers. And I counted. I go like 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 fingers and 2 objects together it still equals 4. And no matter what I did, 2 plus 2 always equaled 4. No matter how I did it. So it never occurs to me that I could be wrong here. Because I could see, obviously, that 2 plus 2 equals 4 through the experimentation, and then I can predict that no matter what I add that's 2 to another set of 2, it's always going to end up being 4. No matter what, I predict that. And I can know that it's going to happen. I know. Is it because I'm a cocky, arrogant prick? No, it's because that's the truth, and you can be sure of it. So, yeah, this nonsense, has it ever occurred to you that you were wrong? Ask that to an atheist. Like, has it ever occurred to you that you could be wrong? No. Or they'll say something smart like, well, it did, but then, all the evidence, there isn't any for God, so it had to be that there isn't. Right? But we look at things such as energy can't be created or destroyed. Consciousness comes from something conscious. Life only comes from something living. And we can't have an infinite regress. So the start of all this had to be the source of the energy that can't be created, and the beginning of consciousness in life, so it had to be alive and conscious. Here we have God. Boom, easy, simple. God exists. Right? This is something testable. We can go and be like, we can't create energy. And we can predict that we won't be able to create energy. Right? We can go into consciousness and be like, okay, consciousness we can't just clack some rocks together and boom, we got something conscious. Do it again and be like, oh, we got something living. It just doesn't happen. We can predict that it will never happen, that life will only come from something living and consciousness will only come from something conscious. Now, where this arrogance is to think, I know everything, is to ignore the science, which is actually telling you the facts, and saying, well, one day in the future, because I'm a psychic and stuff, we're going to be able to prove that life came from non-life and consciousness came from something not conscious. It's going to happen because that's the truth, and I know it's the truth. Even though there's no evidence for it, I know it's true because I know everything. You see this cockiness and this arrogance to say they know things with no evidence. But then when you know something because of evidence, somehow you're the arrogant one. What are you going to do, right? I think it's kind of fun because I can do movements and make some facial expressions while I do this. Anyway, um, the other point I wanted to make about it is I know what I know now because I did think I could be wrong, such as with the existence of God and that being the God of the Bible. I put that stuff to the test, and after putting it to the test, like 2 plus 2 equals 4, no matter what, it's just always going to happen. That's how it is. I could see that was the truth about God as well, and the God of the Bible. Putting to test the history of the Bible, the scientific facts of the Bible, the prophecies in the Bible. I'm convinced. Just as I'm convinced 2 plus 2 equals 4. At one point, yeah, I did think I could be wrong. Now, I have no doubt that 2 plus 2 is 4 no matter what. And if that's cocky and arrogant, well then, hey, it's cocky and arrogant to believe the facts and accept it. And then tell it to everybody else that I believe the facts and what the facts point to, everybody. Because I'm a cocky, arrogant prick. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Right? They think they're clever trying to flip the script here. It's just narcissistic personality disorder is what it is. Narcissists project themselves onto others, and then they try to take the good qualities of others onto themselves. An example, you'll sometimes hear in videos and articles about atheists talking about the immorality of Christians or people who believe in religion, even though they have no basis for morality and to be able to judge others as immoral. But they'll make that claim and then kind of have this claim about themselves of wanting the good for the world and peace for the world and all these things. But it's all just talk, right? There's not like there's big atheist movements coming together and putting their money together to actually do something helpful for others. Like they're not going around helping the poor, telling them, here's some clothes and some hygiene products and, of course, food and water. Remember, there is no God. Right? You don't see them doing something like that, even if it's not to evangelize atheism, but just to help in general. That's just something you don't really see. Right? So to say this whole moral thing, they have no legs to stand on when it comes to that. But yeah, I spent some time, mainly years ago, talking with atheists and engaging with them. But they're some of the most unreasonable, illogical people you'll ever talk to, and the biggest hypocrites. And once you back them into a corner, you show how they're wrong, and you show how you're right, and you stick to your guns, and you don't let them jump and change subject and get you to drop everything by thinking, well, I could be wrong, I guess, so let's entertain that, right? I guess maybe you could be right. Blah, 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 blah. There's no evidence to back you up, but I'm bringing evidence, but I'm the one that could be wrong here, and you're the one that could be right. It's stupid. It's stupid, right? It's like talking to somebody, and you're like, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and they're like, 2 plus 2 is 6. And you're like, there's no evidence for that. Hey, 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 has it ever occurred to you you could be wrong? Let's entertain the idea. Uh, I think it's stupid, but you know what? Let's do it. Okay, 2 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, how are you getting 6? And then all of a sudden mocking, scoffing, and spitting in your face and all that good stuff. You know, unreasonable. But what do you expect from a bunch of people who actually think that they're animals? They're not going to act much different. They're going to start flinging their shit, pissing all over the place, and think that's a reasonable response. What are you going to do? But anyway, so if I do respond to atheists, it's relatively quick. Whether it's like in the comments or something, I'll comment a little bit. But as soon as there's just that little hint of them going off into Never Never Land, I basically end the conversation, or especially right when they start to mock and all that stuff, it's just like, well, block, I don't care. I gotta waste my time listening to it, some ape fling his shit at me. Or I will, do a video like this, where I can plainly express myself without having to dodge all the feces and stuff, you know? I can say what I need to say and not have to worry about that, and let off the steam about how just annoying it is to have like shit flung at you, right? I mean, you get venting about that, you know? It's gross. But yeah, I think that's about that. Let me see if I wrote anything else interesting to put here. Oh no, I pretty much went over everything here. So that is that concerning this here. It's been a while since I really talked about anything atheistic, which is weird because I put out a video a while ago talking about abogenesis. Didn't get much comments to it, but I made another video about the Antichrist and your willing slavery, and I actually got a response from atheists, and they were actually saying things about God, and I was kind of like, the video was just kind of talking about a potential candidate for an Antichrist just because of how some weird things are lining up. Not even saying this person is the Antichrist, I just thought things were interesting, it was something to talk about. And then I used it as a way to teach common law to people and how they're not under Roman law. And all of a sudden I'm getting comments from atheists. It's like, okay, whatever, but here we are. Here we are. So that is that. I'm just going to keep rambling about this if I keep going. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and stick to your guns, stick to your faith. One of these atheists tried to tell me that you don't have evidence, you have faith. And I was like, well, faith is the evidence of things unseen. These people, they think they know things, and then they try to talk to you as if they know the Bible and try to tell it to you. And I guess the problem is Christians not knowing their Bible that well, so they don't have their faith strong, and they don't look at the science and the simplicity of things. When you talk to these atheists, they'll overcomplicate things, and they will talk and talk and talk like I'm starting to do here, and just talk and talk and talk and talk, or type and type and type and type and type and type, and you'll spend there, and you've been like, man, I've been reading this or listening to this for like 25 minutes, and he hasn't actually said anything. Kind of like I've done for the last 2-3 minutes here. It's like, what is this? It's just a distraction. It's basically, it's a weird tactic. It's to put you to sleep and forget about what's going on. You're like, what are we even talking about? What is this about? All right, whatever, I'm just going to go make a sandwich. Right? That's just pretty much how it is, right? It's kind of like the conversation concerning the atheist I was talking to that inspired me to do this video. He was saying something weird. It was a fairly long comment. And when I do this, it's long because that's like the whole screen, and you gotta like scroll down it and stuff to read the rest of it. And we were talking about the existence of God. And I told him I made a video about it. And then I recently just uploaded one earlier today about it. And he started talking about people and how I see things, and talking about egos and all this stuff going on about it. And I was kind of like, okay, all right, what does this have to do with what we're talking about here? I mean, it seems kind of out of left field. I don't get what point you're making. And that's where, as far as I know, the conversation's done there. Just like, well, if you don't get it, there's no point in talking. It's like, okay. It's kind of weird. It's like, you engage with somebody, like I'm doing here in this video. I explain something to you. Like, you should be able to understand this 2 + 2 = 4. Right? But just in case, I took the time to explain it. Yeah, it's kind of condescending because of the simplicity of this. But it's just an example of, if you're going to talk to somebody and you assume they see things the way you see it, they know what you know, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have to, at times, explain yourself and your point of view and what you're trying to get across, because they might not grasp it. So, yeah. I guess I'm kind of having too much fun with this rambling. But, yeah, that is that, I guess. I think. I'll just turn it off now. Thanks for watching, and take care.